Hello, and welcome to another episode of Madam Suzanne Live. I'm your host, Freddie Shaban, and I can't tell you how excited I am to do this live streaming today. Why? Because this is my forte. This is what I know best. This is what I'm an expert in, and I love this part of the business when I was active, of course. And it is such a psychological thriller to me. It's always fascinated me because I love human behavior. I love watching people. I love studying people, trying to figure them out. It all comes from screening for years and years and years. So, as you can see, I'm very excited just by looking at me. You can tell, right? So, this is all real. So, I'm going to start to explain to you why I chose the subject. Two, I'm going to go over the basics with you about this subject. And three, I'm going to dive into, time permitting, the more complex part of this subject. So we have an hour, right? I could talk about this not for an hour, not for a day, not for a year. I could talk about this for a long time. Why? Because it's such a rich and extensive subject. There is no way I could cover everything, number one. Number two, it's something that you have to actually do and practice in real life in order to get really good at it. And it's all about the experience, and it's all about going through situations and figuring them out. Okay. It's almost like some people play chess and they might know two moves in advance. Some people play chess and they know 6 or 10 moves in advance. Well, this subject here, it's so rich, it's actually like playing a 4D chess game, meaning we have one chessboard, 10 moves in advance, another chessboard, 10 moves in advance, another chessboard, and another chessboard. So it's a 4 chessboard game, and each one you're 10 moves ahead. So every little move you make on the bottom, it actually has a ripple effect on all 4 levels. Okay? You with me? So, number one, the reason why I picked this subject is because a lot of people have been reaching out to me through email, through this channel, through other things that I do, through my books, and asking me, how do I get a sugar daddy? And more importantly, some of them think they have sugar daddies. They don't know how to hit that magic button and get that jackpot. That's what all the butter is all about. And this is the $64 million question. How do I get that guy to give me money? Right? If everybody knew how to do it, guess what? There'll be a lot less people escorting, a lot more people just seeing 1 or 2 guys and making 10 to 100 times more than money than they make in escorting. So this is why I chose the subject. Number two, like I said, we only have an hour, so I'm going to start with the basics, okay? So if you have read my book, any of my books, I explain what a sugar daddy is and what is the best qualification that I look for in a really good candidate or prospect to become person of interest in an exclusive arrangement between the escort or a sugar baby and the gentleman. Okay. And I'm not saying it can be a guy with a woman, the opposite, where it's a guy sugar baby, but because of my experience, I'm only going to speak of what I know in my world, in the escort world, right? And the sugar baby world. So, of course, most escorts would love to have just one guy. A lot of escorts fail in this arena because a lot of them have this habit of getting paid for time, which I totally understand. I totally get, right? We are used to getting paid 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 an hour, whatever your rate is, for time spent, because we don't want to walk somewhere and do our hair and do our makeup and get all ready and go to dinner when we're not going to get paid for, because we're so used to getting paid for our time. and rightfully so. I get it. Time is the most important commodity we own, and one cannot give it away for free, because once you do that, guess what? Why buy the cow when you can get the leche or milk for free? Right? We've all heard that saying, and it's so true. And here's another thing. Once you go there, it's really hard to come back from that. But there's also one exception. The only time, and I'm going to explain this here in a second, the only time I've ever had a situation where I told one of my escorts when we were working on a possible exclusive arrangement, the only time I ever told them that go ahead and go to dinner for free, which really hurts me even saying it today, but sometimes you have to do it because this is a give and take. If I want somebody to trust me, right, I have to do something to show them that I'm okay, that I'm safe, that you're okay with me, that I have good intentions, that I'm being genuine, that I'm being real with you, that I do want to be with you. And you can't do that unless you show something. Sometimes you have to give a little, in this case, to get a lot. And that happened every single time. I have never failed, humbly speaking, no ego, just facts. I have never gotten in a situation where I discussed something with one of my girls, escort, whatever, and she went and did that and not get a huge amount from it. It's a lot better in the right situation, mind you. Can't do this with everybody because most guys will take advantage of you and they will take your time and they will abuse it. I'm talking about the person that you've already screened, that you already know who you're dealing with, that you already know what their net worth is, that you already know what your expectations are financially speaking and otherwise. And you know that this guy is worth 10 million. If I get him for 25,000 a month, it's a pimple off his back. No problem. Okay? So you don't go in blindly and offering free time. So let me just get this out of the way right away, because I know a lot of escorts have a problem with that, and I get it. Okay, we got in the habit to be getting paid by time, right? And that's smart. However, sometimes you have to give a little to get a lot, okay? So now, let's start by talking about you have a sugar daddy, okay? Or you think you have a sugar daddy. Let me go over this real quick with you. Look, just because the guy has a mansion or a Rolls Royce, whatever, you fill in the blank. First of all, that doesn't mean anything if the guy is not generous, helpful, and really into you, and really ready to put his money where his mouth is. Look, a lot of talk, a lot of guys are going to try to get out of that money thing, and they'll talk about everything else but the money. Okay? And you know why? Because they don't want to feel like they're paying for it. Even the guys that used to come for my escorts, they never liked the idea of them paying for it. So you have to do everything you can to make them feel like you're not just there for the money. And that could be really tricky. But you can do it. And how can you do it? Is by the things that you do and the things that you say. Like any other situation in life. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's very, very important to get into that frame of mind that right now you're not escorting. You're actually attempting to have some sort of a relationship with this gentleman on a certain level where they scratch your back and you scratch theirs. Okay? So how do you do that? Well, like I said, number one, they got to be generous. They got to be helpful. Their net worth has to match what you have in mind, what your expectation is financially. Okay? So if I'm expecting 25 grand a month, I want to make sure that guy is worth anywhere from $5 to $10 million minimum. Why? Because I don't want any problems. Okay? We all have 99 problems, and this guy is not going to be one of them. Okay? We never want him to cry wolf or accuse you of anything. If you guys know what I was accused online, believe me, I've been there, right? So you make sure that they are financially able Number one, able, because if you cannot have the guy meet that expectation, if they don't pass that test, which is what the net worth is, what they're capable of giving you, then there's no need to talk any further. Just delete and move on, right? Don't waste your time. Now, there's some women that they want to get something out of everybody, and they might put some more effort in, try to get, oh, let me at least get a 10 grand. Well, then that's up to you. Okay. I just learned a long time ago that I'm always going to go for somebody that is willing to risk or lose a certain number, because there's magic numbers in everything in life. And a lot of guys have a certain number that they are willing to gamble on or risk or have a relationship with you as a sugar baby. So you just have to find that number. It's got to be the number that you're comfortable with first. And that's why you do the screening first. That comes first. Okay. More importantly, with this point, is that to get the right guy, like I said before, if you want to make $1 million, you better look like $1 million. So you better get all your stuff together: hair, makeup, beauty, skin, outfits, and then do the right pictures, the right videos, if you can do videos. But the pictures are so important. The videos are so important. Now, a lot of these websites don't allow videos, but there's other ways to get them to the video, right? It's good to have video as well, in my humble opinion. I just love video. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000. Why? Because they know you can't really, you got to be a pro working for Pixar or something, or Disney, to be able to edit that video to make yourself look a lot better than you really are. Okay. So this is the reason why I like the videos. But lifestyle pictures that shows the guy what they could imagine themselves doing with you. So you basically starting the NLP or neuro linguistic process, or the brainwashing process, but you're trying to connect with that gentleman on his level. So if the guy has a private jet, he has a yacht, what do you got to do to connect the dots in his brain that you are the girl for him? You have to match his lifestyle with the pictures that you put up on your profile. Okay? So how do you do that? You do upscale photo shoots that can match the gentleman's profile, because guys like that, ladies and gentlemen, are used to the best of the best. And the last thing they're going to do is go out with somebody, even for dinner, that they don't think they're on their level. They get snobbish, a lot of them. They get spoiled. They get used to a certain level, just like we all do, whatever level it is we're on. Some people are used to low level. Some people, you get the picture, right? So it's important to put a lot of effort and time in your presentation. Presentation is everything. Okay? And the gentleman you're about to get to recognize you and contact you, your prospect, your target market, they appreciate your presentation, your words. There's a lot of magic in words. Words will sprinkle magic dust all over this whole process. Words are very powerful. So you have to be very, very careful, very articulate how to write that profile. Okay? You have to be very clear. But buyer beware. Never use the word money. Ever, ever, ever. Did I say ever enough? 3 more times. Ever, ever, ever. Never use the word money. Okay? And I'll tell you why. There's a certain emotional attachment that some people, most people, excuse my French, most people have with money. It's an unbreakable emotional attachment. So even just saying the word money might turn somebody off from you forever. It will change everything. That's why I never use the word money, ever. Take it one step further. I've never asked for money. What do I ask for? Help. Help is the magic word. And hopefully you've been paying attention to your screening, and hopefully you've got a guy that is willing to help you. Because go back to character traits. If somebody is not a helpful guy, somebody is extremely selfish, somebody that loves money more than anything else, including their mom, dad, family, kids, blah, 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 guess what? Good luck. Good luck getting something out of this guy. It's going to be an uphill battle, and guess what? I'm not in that great a shape at 58 years of age today to be able to compete going up the hill right now. Okay? I'm going to try, if I was an escort or a sugar baby, I'm going to try my best, right, to make sure that I am taking the path of least resistance by doing a really proper screening on the gentleman I'm looking for. So I have a precise idea of what guy I want, right? So once you go through all the screening and all the presentation, and you got your words right, and you got your profile out there, and you got everything just tight, right? Tip-top shape, exactly how you want it. You're looking for the exact, you know exactly who you're looking for and how you're going to get them and how you're going to talk to them. Now, let's talk about the $64 million question. Now you start getting responses. Now, how are we going to get money out of the guy, right? A lot of them, even though they're on a website, like Seek an Arrangement, Sugar Daddy for Me, whatever Sugar Daddy nowadays, whatever websites they have. I did a search a couple of days ago, and there's a whole bunch of new ones. So how do we do that, right? A lot of girls have a problem with that. They can attract the right guys. They can get them to like them. They can get them to want to spend, dinners and drinks and maybe hotels and maybe destinations, trips. But man, how do I get cash from this guy? This is why you're here. Bear with me, okay? There is not a simple answer to this question. It's very complex. Remember the 4D chess game I explained to you before? Okay. There's a lot of different variables. I can tell you this. As you do it more and more and more, and you have more and more experience in reading people, understanding their psyche, understanding where they're coming from, the better and more efficient you will become to find that magic button. You heard me talk about this before. There's a magic button that you can push on every human being on this earth to get the jackpot, including me. I'll be the first one to admit it. Okay, I'm a caring guy. I'm a loving guy. That's my magic button. Because my nature is to help. My nature is to love and care. I'm a very loving, caring person. So if somebody got to my heart, right, here goes the jackpot. But of course, I'm very aware of that. So I do my best to make sure I protect myself at all times. I'm a little different, right? But for the most part, 99.999% of humans, they do have that jackpot button. And it all goes back to our upbringing, our character, our experiences, our whatever, life, right? So I'm going to look at that gentleman. I'm going to analyze them. And as we're having conversations, let's say we start with emails first. As we're having conversations, I'm not only reading the words, but I'm trying to understand, why did he say certain things? What does that mean? If somebody says, well, I'm worried about such and such and such. Now, when he's used the word worried, I want to go into the background and see from that sentence, and because of that word, where did that come from? This is from emotional intelligence, okay? You got to figure out where that feeling comes from. When somebody says that, when you're trying to analyze them, psychoanalyze them, right? Why do I do that? Because I want to make sure I know exactly the kind of person I'm dealing with, because the more I understand them, the better I can get the map that's going to lead to the treasure. Treasure being that jackpot, the money you're trying to get from the sugar daddy. And you can only do that if you're good with people, if you're an active listener, if you have experience with people, if you know how to analyze, you have to have the analytical thinking, and you got to be patient. Okay? This is a long game. This chess game is not 1 or 2 hours. This is not instant gratification where somebody calls you right now, hey, can I make an appointment for 7:30 tonight? Sure. What's your donation? It's $1,000. Okay. You know, if this guy shows up and everything is cool and you did your job screening them, you're going to get that $1,000 by 8:30. Well, 7:30 before the session, of course. Rule number one, golden rule number one in this business, get your money up front. But you know that you're going to get that $1,000 at 7:30 or whenever he shows up, right? This game here is a different one. Now, I'm not saying I haven't had opportunities to, within a week or two, 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. It happens. But you have to have a lot of experience, and you got to be really acute to human behavior and how you study people, how you analyze people. It's a lot about analysis, okay? You have to have that analytical mind. You have to pay attention. So as you're emailing back and forth, whatever your protocol is, I'm just telling you about mine. So as I go through emails, then maybe when I'm ready and I know they're financially able to satisfy my expectations, and I know that they're giving, and I know that they're nice, and I know that they have a good heart, and I know they're helpful, and I know all these things I'm looking for in prospect for an exclusive arrangement, then when I get on the phone, okay, or get my escort on the phone, usually, in this case, I'm going to make sure I have a whole plan and a map. It's kind of like when you do an MRI and you got a whole picture of your brain or whatever target you're trying to get to. Now I know exactly what's going on. So before I move to the phone, most of the time, I have at least 75% of that plan completed. I know exactly pretty much how to get to this guy, how to get him to help me with what I need. Now, let me just say this. Nobody's tricking anybody here. It's not like you're on Match.com or eHarmony or Tinder or whatever, and you're trying to flip him, to trick him, to con him. No, there's no conning here. Okay? Is there finesse? Yes. Because if you don't, these guys are very smart guys. They didn't get to become millionaires because they're stupid. 99% of them, they had to make it the hard way. Okay? So you're not going to trick them into scamming them into giving you money. That's not going to happen. Okay? But you can hit on their heartstrings or whatever string that you find that's going to allow them to be more open to helping you. And that's the best you can hope for. Okay? And these guys know when they're on seeking arrangement or whatever, they know what they're dealing with. Now, I got to tell you, as you know, you've heard me say this before. Now, 99% of these guys, if not 99.7, 8, 9, very close to 100%, maybe 0.01%. They are up there on those websites to trick a naive, inexperienced young woman, to give them a lot of time for free, a lot of sexual favors for really free or cheap, right? Worse, free, but cheap also. And they get away with it, right? Because these poor girls, they don't know any better. They think this guy is going to take care of them, and they promise him the world, and they just want to perv out on him, fuck them, whatever, excuse my French, take advantage of them until the girl wises up and says, oh no, I'm not doing this. You have no idea how many times I've talked to women that came to work with me looking for a job, both in Orange County and Las Vegas, but especially in Orange County, because the sugar daddy thing got bigger and bigger and bigger as time went by. So by 2012, when I started my agency in Orange County, I was hiring a bunch of people. I can't tell you how many girls came up and says, hey, I had a sugar daddy and now I have to do this because, they dumped me. Well, what did you get? Nothing. They got to live in a little mansion. They got to drive nice cars. They got blah, blah, blah. But what did you walk away with? Nothing. Maybe some clothes or something. Not even the really nice clothes. Not even really nice purses or shoes or jewelry or whatever, where they can exchange for cash. So, how do you get the money? Patience, pay attention, figure out if this is the right guy first, make sure they can afford it, have a complete good plan after you figure out what kind of person you're dealing with, and then execute your plan. It's different for everybody. Some people want to help you with the bills. Maybe you tell them, you want to start a business. Maybe you tell them you want to buy a house. You fill in whatever blank you want. There's got to be a reason why they're going to give you money, because when they give you money, they want to know that this is not just going for you to go buy a Ferrari tomorrow. Because they probably don't even have a Ferrari themselves, and they probably don't believe in owning a Ferrari. Some guys are very frugal, very about money management, and they believe that's a waste, because if you do that, you're going to turn them off. Right? So they want to know that this money is going to a good cause, because to them, they are constantly, what's the word I'm looking for? Justifying. Okay? They constantly, before they give you one penny, they constantly want to justify why I'm going to give this girl 20, 30, 50, 100 grand a month. Why? Right? It plays a trick on them, because they're businessmen and they're smart. So why am I going to do that? Is she trying to rip me off? Is this a scam? Is this a con? What's the justification? He needs a justification. He wants to do it, but he needs you to help him find that justification. This is the key. Justification is something good. Just like when I hired escorts in Orange County, I had to have a justification why I'm going to hire them. I'm not going to hire somebody just because they want to buy more drugs. I'm not going to hire somebody just because they want to buy a $150,000 SL, Mercedes or whatever. I want to hire people that really need the job, really need to make X amount of money. And that made me feel like I'm doing something good. The same applies to these sugar daddy wannabes or prospective sugar daddies, okay? I shouldn't say wannabes, because that means they're not real. So the real guy wants to justify, why am I going to help this girl? So if it's for my daughter, let's say I'm the escort, the girl. If it's for my daughter to help her with whatever, if it's for me to go back to school, if it's for me to buy a home, if it's for me, I want to start a business, or I'm in really deep crap with the IRS. That's always a good one. Used that many times. Deep crap with the IRS. Okay. And if I don't get it, and a lot of it was true. A lot of this was true. Okay, I've always used whatever situation is with the escort that I was working with, because all the exclusive arrangement I made happen were with one of my escorts, right? So I always took something out of their playbook and used that, because they really needed the help. It was legit. Now, of course, I'm not saying that some girls are not just straight hustlers and they just kind of make stuff up. Okay? That's up to the individual. I'm not going to sit here and advise you one way or the other on that. Okay? To each his own, that's up to you. But the point I'm trying to make is, as long there's justification for the gentleman to give you that money, and then it makes sense to them, they connect the dots, and they put out the cash. Okay? Some people want to talk to you about, well, their accountant or there's this, then they give you all the excuses in the world. That's all fine. It could be true, it could be not true, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what matters is, what you're going to do for me. You want to use my body, you want to take me to travel with you so you can look good, you want me to take to conferences, you want to blah, 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 you want to do it up the end, whatever it is. I get that. I'll give you all that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to do my part of this equation. If this is a contract, I will sign it and I'll do my part, hypothetically speaking. Right? Now, it's a give and take. Now, I'm totally willing to scratch your back. You want your ass licked? Okay, I'll lick it for you. How's that? I don't usually do that, but for you, I'll do it. I'm just talking crap right now. Okay. Now, what is your reciprocation? What is your part? What are you going to do for me? Okay. I've heard some escorts that I worked with that were feeling bad. But what are you feeling bad for? The guy is the one who came to you. They know what you do, especially when the girl is an escort already. They already know what she does for a living. Okay. We're not in a choir at church, doing that. Okay. We're not working in a restaurant. They know what we're doing. Don't feel bad. As long as you're honest with these guys up to a certain point and let them know, hey, listen, I need this help. Yeah, I need help with my rent. I need help with my insurance. I need help with this bill. I'm sitting on 30,000 worth of bills, whatever it is, which more people are. I need help to pay off these student loans, pay off these credit cards, whatever it is. I want to take a course in real estate. It's going to cost 7,000, so I can get out of this. I can have a better life. Okay. Whatever it is, justification in the sugar daddy's mind. So you get that, you do that, you find the magic button. That emotional connection is so huge. If a sugar daddy, if you cannot get him to emotionally connect with you on some sort of way, some sort of level, maybe you have the same upbringings, maybe you've gone through some experiences that they have, maybe whatever the case may be, to get that emotional connection is so important. The more emotionally connected they are to you, the more money you're going to make, as long as they can afford it. And guess what? The easier it's going to be for you to give them the justification for them to give you that exclusive arrangement that you're looking for. See? Now, there's so many different scenarios. There's so many different characters. There's so many different personalities with these guys. There's no way in hell I'm going to sit here for an hour or even 10 hours or 100 hours and try to tell you what all these things are. You just have to go with the flow. Figure it out as you go with each person, just like you do every day with each client if you're an escort, or if you're working in another business with your coworkers or with the clients, or whatever the case may be, or your family members. You just figure it out as you go. Okay? And you're trying to analyze and pick the points. Strong points, weak points. Where can I get in? Where's the emotional attachment? How can I get them attached to me? What are they looking for exactly? Can I provide that for them? And how? Okay? What, how, when, all this. And timing is, of course, like everything else in life. Timing is extremely important in this business. Okay? You can't do things off whack. You can't get things off sync. Because if you go too far without knowing what you're doing, a lot of times you can't salvage that situation. You cannot salvage that relationship that you're building with that person. But that goes with any relationship, right? It's like a husband and wife. When the husband starts beating the wife up, now he has to go back and apologize. 9 out of 10 times, unless they totally don't do it again, don't change. It's just an example. It's hard to come back. You cannot unhit the woman, the wife. Okay, you cannot unhear the painful, emotionally damaging words that somebody says to the other person. You can't take it back. As much as you say, I'm really sorry, blah, blah, you said it. Okay, you can't unhear it. You can't unfeel the pain you felt from these words. Okay, for you. So it's always good to have a system and follow the protocol. Getting to the point when you can hit that jackpot and get that money. Okay? So you got to know who you are, what you have to offer. Make sure you are real and honest with yourself when you look in the mirror. You don't see a 10 when you're a 5. Let's be honest. Okay? If you want a certain type of money, you better look the part. If you want $1 million, I always used to say, you gotta look like $1 million. And these guys are they look at everything. They will sit there with your picture, enlarge it as much as they can, and look at your rings. They're trying to figure out how big is the ring if you have on, the necklace, what kind of shoes you got on, what kind of purse, what kind of lingerie. Is it just a cheap Wicked Temptation $25 lingerie, or is it an Italian lingerie that's worth $700 to $2,000? It's handmade, whatever. They look at that stuff, man. These guys, it's important to them. Why? Because they want exclusive, okay? They're not playing. These guys want the real big wigs, the whales, if you will. They want, if that's what you're looking for, they want the best of the best. They want the cream of the crop. They want somebody that nobody else can get to. And they have an ego, right? It's rewarding for them to have that chase and to get what they want, because these guys that have a lot of money, they all have one thing in common. 99% of them, I'm not going to say 100%, but 99% of them, they don't like to lose. Okay? And they like to get what they want, whatever that is. They're always used to getting what they want. And if there's competition, forget about it. I used competition so much, it's not even funny. Certain times, certain situations, certain parts of the puzzle, I'll throw the competition in there because I already know that the guy can't stand losing. And if there's competition, he wants to be first in line. He's not going to let anybody else. Oh, really? He offered you 20 grand? Well, guess what? I'm going to give you 30. How's that? Sometimes it works, man. Reverse psychology, competition, whatever it is, it works. Because they all have big egos. Male egos, right? 99.9% of guys that are unevolved, unself-aware, self-made millionaires or billionaires, they have egos. It's a fact. So you can use that to your advantage. Whatever it is you see in the character flaw, character trait, personality disorder, personality, any type of poison they may have, they might be sex addicts, they might be codependent, they might be insecure. Just because they're millionaires, it doesn't mean that they don't have these issues. Okay? Some of these guys that are really, really wealthy, they're geeks. They don't know how to act and with people and in circles, a lot of people. I mean, look at I don't mean to pick on him. I apologize, but look at Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. Very awkward. Right? So if you can help somebody with their character flaw and make them feel better, you're going to get that money. If they can count on you and they trust you and they like you a lot and they start developing that emotional attachment to you, you're going to get the money. If they have fun with you that they're not used to, if you're game for anything and you're exciting to them and they can't wait to see you, you're going to get the money. If you give them a new feeling, a new outlook on life, a different outlook, some things that you might be in yoga, they've never tried yoga, now they want to experience yoga and they try it and they love it. You're showing them new things. You're showing them different things on life that they're not used to. Sometimes that works and they'll give you the money. And vice versa, they're going to show you a lot of things you're not used to. You've never been on a private jet. Now you're going to be on. So you see, it's really a symbiotic relationship. And I'm not saying you can't develop feelings and emotions. We're not machines. We're not mechanically like this computer or this camera. No, we have feelings. We have emotions. And it's hard sometimes not to, I'm not going to say fall in love, because I'm going to tell you right now, I used to tell, and it's up to the person, but I used to advise all my girls, whatever you do, do not fall in love with these guys. All of them were married, number one. And number two is I don't want any of my girls to get hurt, because my job is not only to get them to be financially secure, but of course to do it safely. As you guys know me, safety is always number one. So that is unsafe for you to give up your feelings like that and give up your heart, because you're going to get hurt. Because these guys are already having a mistress on top. God knows some of them have 3, 4 of them, okay? You're not the only one. And they're married. Now you're going to fall in love with them? Think about it. Don't ever forget how you meet somebody, okay? That's how you met them. That tells you about the person. Okay, so how did you meet them? Oh, they called me as an escort. Okay, well, then they're a client. They already told you who they are. Why are you trying to ignore it? So you got to protect yourself at all times. You can have empathy, sympathy, enjoy their company or companionship. You can have a ton of fun with them. That's all good. Just don't give up your heart. Don't fall in love with them. That's just my advice. Okay? So let me see here what's going on. You're on a whole different level than here in Maine. I think I'm living in the wrong state. That's my man. What state is best to pursue a sugar daddy? I don't think there's a state that's better than another state. Hi, Han. How you guys? Be true, everybody. Word on the streets. Appreciate you guys making it. There is really, I don't think there's a good state or a bad state, but I think there are states that you have more of an opportunity, of more of a chance to meet the exclusive gentleman if that's your target. Of course, you got to go to the wealthy areas, right? Logically speaking. If I'm in San Diego, I'm going to target Fairbanks Ranch, La Jolla, Del Mar. If I'm in Orange County, I'm going to go to Newport Beach. That's why I was in Newport Beach doing my thing. If I'm in LA, I'm going to go to Malibu, Beverly Hills. If I'm in Arizona, I'm going to go to Scottsdale, right? If I'm in New York City, I'm going to go to Wall Street. So you get the hint, you get the picture, right? But the good thing about it is now everything is online, right? So the globe is your oyster. So you could be anywhere and just do your thing online, and they're going to come to you. Because at some point, the gentleman that's really looking, and especially if they have really expensive taste and very exclusive taste, they'll end up wandering off from their area. Let me explain. If I'm on Seeking.com and I've already exhausted, and I live in La Jolla, and I've already exhausted everybody in my service zone of 50 miles. Now I'm going to venture off to the next area, which would be Newport Beach. And if I can't get any results of the person I'm looking for, I'm going to expand to LA, to Beverly Hills, to Malibu, right? So there's really no limit. And besides, the guys that I'm interested in this, I used to be interested in, and the guys I'm talking about, the big whales, if you will, those guys travel all the time. So to them, it doesn't matter whether it's New York, whether it's DC, whether it's, for the most part, they're all over the map anyways, right? And especially a lot of them have their own jets nowadays. And if they don't own their jets, they're leasing. There's a lot of leasing companies that they're using jets like Uber, right? On a speed dial. So it doesn't really matter much anymore about the location. Excuse me for a second. I have the sun coming in my eyes. So just give me 1 second, please. And please send me some questions, if you will. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So basically, the point is you can go anywhere. You could be anywhere nowadays. Of course, it's preferably if the person is in the upscale area of their choice, but anything is possible, right? So any other questions, please? This is a time when we can exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, exchange comments, whatever you guys want. But this is, at the end of the day, this is not a really it's not a really simple thing. And this is why a lot of escorts fail in this department. Okay. Escorts, I've known escorts that have been in the business 5, 10, 15, 20 years or longer. And they weren't successful in in obtaining an exclusive arrangement that was lucrative enough, right? And here's another thing. Just because we call it exclusive, it never really means that it's going to be exclusive, okay? Because if somebody has a good career as an escort, why are they going to throw it away for somebody that they're not even sure if they're going to continue more than the first month? It's not like we have a contract in blood here. Unless you can get all the money up front for a year or two. Some people are already making $1 million a year as an escort. They're not going to throw that career away they've been working on for 15 years, 20 years. No way. Right? Now, it all depends on the situation and the person. If somebody is a billionaire and they're going to offer you a house on your own, 10,000 square foot home, cars, jewelry, money in the bank, and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, wait a minute. This guy's going to give me $25 million worth of stuff. If I'm working, that'll take me 25 years. I'll be 70 by then. And it's all right now. And it's with one guy. And I like him and he's a nice guy. And I can deal with him. We have fun together. That's a no-brainer, right? So it all depends on you, your situation, and you have to evaluate and process everything, and you have to analyze everything and make sure you're doing the right thing for you. A lot of these guys, I've seen guys like on Sugar Daddy for Me or Seeking Arrangement or whatever, where you barely talk to a guy, I want you off this site and I'm going to give you $1,000 a month. Believe me, this is how some guys think. Are you kidding me right now? Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you, I want to see you 3 times a week, maybe 4. 2 of them got to be overnight, and they start doing all these demands, and they're giving you $1,000 a month or something stupid like this. And some guys are really serious. They think that's sugar daddy. So the most important thing for me to teach you today is to define what real sugar daddy is. In my humble opinion, if a gentleman cannot give you $20,000 in cash minimum a month, tax-free, that's $240,000 a year, plus trips, plus gifts, plus you don't count this stuff. You don't count, oh, I'm going to give you 20 grand and 2 dinners. No, hell no. Because the lifestyle of the guy is already conducive to him going out to nice dinners, him traveling, him going first class or his own jet, or you fill in the blank. Okay, and gifts. They got to be generous, you guys. If I haven't said it enough, I'll say it one more time. I've said it in all the videos, my books, all that. Got to be generous naturally. It's hard to get a freaking water out of a rock, man. If somebody is not naturally generous and they're cheap, I personally, one of my biggest pet peeves personally is cheap people. Okay? I can't really handle it. So when I'm working, and I used to work this gig, as soon as I saw somebody's cheap, I left them alone. I'm not going to sit there and train somebody how not to be cheap if they've been cheap for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. That's not going to happen. Okay? It is not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. If they're cheap, and I'm not saying that I didn't have cheap clients that became sugar daddies that did not do really well. We did really well with them. But the difference was they were cheap. I recognized they were cheap in certain areas in their life, but in other areas, they gave it away like water. I like those guys. Okay? They might be cheap about cars, but they love homes and they have no problem giving a girl a helping hand. I like those guys. Okay? So it all depends, man. This is what I'm telling you. This is a 4-tier chess match. 4D. This is not 1 move, 2 move. This is not checkers. We're playing chess here. If you can't play chess on a high level, you're not going to be successful. And this is why a lot of girls, with all due respect, they don't have the finesse, they don't have the experience, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the psychology, they don't have the wit, they don't have all this stuff that it takes to get these really smart, successful, rich men to hand out cash that could break a bank. Okay? A lot of girls, I have to mention this, with all due respect, some girls do it by marrying the guy when they find a real rich guy, having a baby, and they know they're going to divorce him because they can't stand him, and they know it's going to come to an end, and they're going to get the alimony, the palimony, the child support, and that's how they work it, and the house or whatever, that's how they work it. One of my billionaire clients in Orange County. Very well-known guy. I can tell you, anybody that's ever driven a Mercedes probably driven Mercedes out of his dealership. Biggest Mercedes dealership in the world. Said enough, right? This guy married 9 times. No, I'm sorry. He had 9 kids, married 6 times at the time. And his 7th wife, ex-Playboy playmate, with him for a year, got pregnant almost immediately, ended up with a divorce. That was her plan. She got a really nice house down on Laguna Beach, across the street from the water. And he's going to give her child support for the next 18 years, alimony or palimony or whatever the hell it is. Some girls do that. This is not what we're talking about today. We're talking about real women that want a real arrangement with 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. And here's another thing too. Just because we say exclusive, it doesn't mean you have to quit your day job if you don't want to, like we talked about. But also, it doesn't mean that you're going to have to have one. If you have the time, let's say I have and I've done this before, right? Let's say I have one exclusive arrangement with one gentleman. It was $25,000 a month, and this is a real example. I was in Vegas, and he would see the escort 3 to 5 days a month, once a month, for 3 to 5 days, on the location of his choice, Hawaii, Dallas, whatever. And it was $25,000 at the time, plus gifts. She actually got more in gifts than the $25,000 a month. He's got very generous, very upscale, blah, blah, had a lot of money. He's a billionaire. Now, I was able to secure 2 more exclusive arrangements. So now we have 3 exclusive arrangements at the same time, because now we have 3 more weeks or more to deal with. So she was already escorting for $3,000, $5,000, and $10,000 a month. And I was giving her between 5 and 8 jobs a month with those amounts, like a couple of overnighters, which was 10 and 10, that's 20. Anyways, at the end of the day, she was making about $120 a month between the escorting with me, the 3 exclusive arrangements. So one was for $25,000, one for $25,000, 2 of them, and one for, I think, $20,000 or something like that. So altogether, she was making about $120,000 a month, bringing in about $120,000 a month. So I chose the gentlemen that were not really highly motivated to take all the escort's time or the sugar baby's time, because it gave us an opportunity for the girl to breathe, first of all, and not feel like she's overwhelmed, not feel like she's a kidnap victim with this guy, especially if he wasn't really the most pleasant guy or something like that. And they got along, but it wasn't like, marriage material or whatever, lover material for real. And I wanted them to be married. This way they don't expect all the time, and they don't have all the time, especially if they're not married. If they're single and retired, you better get ready. You better get ready to give out a lot of time to these gentlemen. Because now, if you become their focus of their life, you're going to give up a lot of time. So I'm hoping that you ask for a lot of money, because that's the only thing that's going to justify it in your mind to be able to spend that kind of time with them. And that's why I said in my book that if you're the characteristics that I look for in a sugar daddy or an exclusive arrangement is somebody that is married, number one. Older. I like them older. I know you girls are going to hate me for this, because they want a sexy guy that's hot, that is really great and bad, fucks them really good, and gives them all the money, and they want everything in one time, that they actually will fall for this guy and probably marry them if they could. No. And the girls used to hate me, because I used to say, no, we're not doing that. I'm trying to protect you here. I'm trying to do my job. Somebody older, and I used to say, you've heard me say this before, 85 years old or older, 1 foot on a banana peel, the other one on the grave. The older, the better. Okay? Worth X amount of money, depending on how much money I'm targeting out of this gentleman. And generous, caring, helpful. Okay? So it's a very, I enjoy this. It's a very rewarding at the end of the day, because you're going to see the proof of your labor and your work like any other job. And all you can do is just do the best, and do your best with your presentation, your words, your everything, and cast your net out there. And depending on what you're looking for, I like to cast the net that the holes are really big, because I only want to catch the big whale. I don't want to catch any dolphins. I don't want to catch any sea rays, any little fish, any small sharks, no. My holes are huge. Well, not my holes, the net. You know what I'm talking about. Pervert. The net holes are huge because I want to just get the whale. I'm only interested in the whale. Okay? I have a high threshold. I had a high threshold for money. And if it wasn't in my range, I wasn't interested, because it takes time and it takes effort, and you have to pay attention, and it's a lot of work, a lot of finesse. And sometimes you have to go through, 10 frogs to get one prince. But all you need is one. Okay? In this game, all you need is one. You get the right one. That's all you need. And believe me, I had some really good ones over the years. Okay, it's a great thing when you get that money, man. When I remember when I used to get the guys to deliver money in a certain way, just to make sure to let the girls know that we're in control. Go to Trader Joe's, get a bag. I want you to put the $30,000 in cash, and I want you to come in at 6 o'clock. And you should see the look on the escort I was working with face when I told this is what he's going to do. And when actually he did it, they couldn't believe it. And it was happening to them. 50 grand, 100 grand, cash. Exactly how I told them to do it. It's not so much I'm trying to be controlling. It's just I was trying to teach my escorts that you got to be in control. Even when the guy thinks he's in control, you're still in control. Because all you're doing is allow them to think that they're in control. I was a stickler about being in control from first contact to sayonara or goodbye, whether it's just a regular escort gig or what we're talking about today. That's all I got today, guys. I wish I could tell you more right now, but we're running out of time. We got a few more minutes, so if you have any more questions, because I know I could talk to you about this forever, right? We could talk about this till next year, and we'll still not have enough information, because so much to talk about. There's so many levels of this and so much information, right? But all I can tell you is to get the money, you just gotta know the person you're dealing with, and know how to talk to them, know how to make them feel, get emotionally attached, and you can get whatever you want. What do you find a potential SD? What to do to find a potential SD? Well, you got to cast your net. So you have to be ready in person when you're going to right places, right? When you're going, if you frequent country clubs, a lot of, Balboa Bay Club in Newport, where a lot of rich people are. If you go to certain events where a lot of rich people are, if you're online, you got to go on those, seeking.com and any other websites that are available. I'm sorry, I can't name them all because there's so many of them nowadays. But you got to go online and figure out which ones are legit. Do your homework and check out the reviews, okay? And put your stuff all over the internet and cast as wide fish net as you can. This way, the more net you have, the more chance you have, just the probabilities and possibilities, right? The law of averages. The higher number that could see your profile or your ad, the more potential you have to catch in the person you're looking for. So there's a lot of ways, and they can also do, if somebody is a model, for example, they can do social media. If somebody has high following, big numbers on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it is, and if they're legit models, this is the girl I gave you an example in Vegas. She was actually a legit lingerie model and bikini model, and I was able to use a lot of her content to assist in this, because and I didn't let these guys know she was an escort, and I told them I'm a model and I'm looking for one guy, and I got to be discreet because I don't want anybody to know, otherwise I'll lose my gigs, which was all true. Okay, but I didn't tell them that she was escorting, of course, because then they'll look at it like, oh, well, I could get her for $1,000 an hour. Why am I going to give her $50,000 a month? See? So there's a lot of ways that you gotta think about these things, because it's very easy to find people nowadays online with just a picture. So it's got to be all planned out. You got to be careful what you do and how you do it. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed another live episode of Madam Suzanne. And don't worry, we'll revisit this again and again and again because it's such a huge subject that, we can never talk enough about it. Okay. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you next week. Same bad channel, same bad time. And I love you guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay happy. And go get that money. All right. All right, you guys. Love you. Bye-bye.